question 1 of our tutorial 5. Okay, we want to see how far we can do this in no time. We know maths is our friend. Maths, you know what it is. There's nothing complicated when we do this subject. It's the best, isn't it? Now let's go through it and let's see how it goes. So here's the first one. It says use the definition. So if they say use the definition, we have to write the definition. The definition says if you want to find m, which is the derivative, it is the limit, or we can just say f dash x. Okay, if you want to find f dash x, which is still m, it is the limit as h approaches 0. Okay, the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. The limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. This gives you f dash h. Don't forget this. This is what they mean by definition. Sometimes you can see them say the definition. Sometimes they don't use the word definition. Sometimes you can see them use the word difference quotient. Okay. Sometimes you can see them use the word difference quotient. Whatever they use, this is going to be the same. So now let's go through this 1a then, using that definition to find the derivative. So first you need to know what your f of x is. Your f of x is going to be 4 minus x squared. Then you need to know what your f of x plus h is. It just means that wherever there is an x, we are putting x plus h. So this will be 4 minus, instead of x, what are we putting? X plus h, all squared, okay? X plus h all squared. Now let's go ahead and let's find the derivative when it's like this. So we'll now say f dash x will be equal to the limit. Don't leave the limit of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h, right? Exactly. So what is this going to be equal to? The limit as h goes to 0 of, what is f of x plus h? It's this one. It is 4 minus x plus h squared, okay? Then minus, what is f of x? It is 4 minus x squared, okay? We are subtracting it, okay? It's after this minus is coming outside of f of x, which is this whole thing. So this whole thing, make sure that this whole thing is affected by the minus, because it's a minus f of x. So you say minus, then you put your f of x in a bracket after that minus, then divided by h. So this is just going to be equal to the limit as h goes to 0 of, here we have 4 minus x plus h squared minus 4, because it will say minus of 4, then minus of minus will be plus x squared. And this is all over h. Then let's simplify. This becomes the limit as h goes to 0 of, here we have this 4 minus this 4. Can put a slight cancel with our pencil, because we know that the positive and the negative, they'll cancel each other. Then we end up having negative of x plus h all squared plus an x squared, which if we want, we can start by putting the x squared since it's positive. Then we say minus x plus h all squared all over h. Now we can see that we have to simplify something because we want to get limit. We cannot substitute a 0 in the denominator. We can't, okay? We have a limit to get here. So how are we going to get it? We have to change something. And what is it that we can change? We can see that we can expand this. So we can say this is going to be the limit as h goes to 0 of x squared minus, now let's do the expansion because the negative is before the expansion. So let's expand. When you say x plus h all squared, you square the first term, which is going to be x squared. Then you multiply the two terms together. X times h is hx. Then you multiply by 2, which is going to be 2hx. Then plus you square the last term, which is h squared, like this. And this is all affected by the negative. We say all over h. And this now will just become the limit as h goes to 0 of, it becomes x squared, then minus x squared, then minus 2hx, then minus h squared all over h. Then what would we have? The limit now as h goes to 0 of x squared and x squared will cancel because one is positive, one negative. So they will cancel. It's x squared minus x squared becomes nothing. You have now negative 2hx minus h squared all over h. Then what do you do when you're at this stage? You factor out h because these two things have an h. So it's going to be now the limit as h goes to 0 of, you factor out h, you remain with negative 2x, then minus an h only because it was h squared, then it's all over h. Then this h into h1 into this one 1. You cancel softly with the pencil so they see what you had done. It now becomes the limit as h goes to 0 of negative 2x minus h, which once it's like this, we can substitute now. It just becomes negative 2x minus, what is h? 0. So this just becomes negative 2x as the final solution. And here is the derivative. So the derivative is negative 2x. So now we can say that, what do we say? Our f dash x is equal to negative 2x. This is our solution. Now we can then find these other ones which they've given us. Well, when you put negative 3 into the first derivative, when you put 0 into the first derivative, when you put 1. So we are now substituting. So we can now say f dash of negative 3. Okay, we had f dash x, so now we can find f dash of negative 3. If you want to find f dash of negative 3, you need to have f dash x first. This is just going to be negative 2 by wherever there is x, you are putting negative 3. Where? In f dash x. So this now becomes negative 2 times negative 3, positive 6. Then we can now say f dash of 0. This is just negative 2 by 0, which is just 0. Then we can now say f dash of 1 is going to be negative 2 by 1, because where there is x, we are putting 1. And this now just becomes negative 2. And we would be done. And these are the solutions. And we'll go to the next one. Goodbye for now. See you in the next video.